All right, distance formula. Again, all we're using it for is to find the distance between 2 points. Here is the formula. And if the last video was too wordy, too much explanation, we're going to simplify this so that you can just get through your homework and get done with it and go do other things. So let's find the distance, or the length of that line right there, between those 2 points. The first thing you want to do is assign one of the points, we'll call it point number 1, and call the other point number 2. It doesn't matter which one you call 1 and which one you call 2. So I'm just going to call this one 1 and that one 2. So point 1, that has a value or a coordinate system. We'll scroll down, or xy values of, let's see, negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So negative 9, and then up 2. So negative 9, 2. Point number 2 is going to have an x value of negative 2. And let's see this down here. Oh, sorry, negative 3. Negative 3. And then let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Negative 6. Okay, I'm going to call the coordinates of point number 1. Let's call that x1 and y1. And then over here for point number 2, we're going to call the coordinates x2 and y2. Now you just use the formula and you plug in the numbers that you're using, or that you used for the xy values. You just plug them into here. Super easy. So the distance of the green line is equal to the square root of x2 minus x1. So that's going to be negative 3 minus negative 9 squared plus y2 minus y1. So that's going to be negative 6 minus 2, and then squared. And now you're just doing your number crunching. That's all that is. So D is equal to, right, negative 3 minus negative 9. That's going to be positive 6, and then we're squaring it, plus negative 6 minus 2 is negative 8, and then we're going to square that. So the distance is equal to 36 plus 64. Distance is equal to square root of 36 plus 64 is 100, and that gives us square root of 100 is 10. So the distance between these two green points over here is 10, or the length of that line connecting them is 10. For the orange line over here, you could just count the spaces across it because it's a straight line, or it's perpendicular to the x-axis. So if we count 1, 2, 3, my answer is going to be 3. So we know that, but let's use the distance formula, see if we can get the same answer. So again, doesn't matter which point you call point 1 and which one you call point 2, just pick one. So I'm going to do like last time. I'm going to call this one point 1 and that one point 2. My x and y values for point number 1 are going to be 0, 5. And then the x and y values for point number 2 are going to be 3, 5. So for point number 1, right, that's going to be x1 and y1. And then for point number 2, that's going to be x2 and y2. And then now we just use distance formula. Distance is equal to x2 minus x1, so 3 minus 0, and then squared, plus y2 minus y1. That's going to be 5 minus 5 squared. The distance is equal to 3 squared plus 5 minus 5 is 0, so 0 squared. So the distance is equal to the square root of, we should say, 9 plus 0. 9 plus 0 is 9, so the distance is equal to the square root of 9, which is equal to 3. So that checks out with our initial observation that, yeah, the length of that line is 3. Next up, looking at this blue one, again, call point 1 and then call the other point 2. So let's do, we'll switch it up. We'll go 1, 2. It doesn't matter which point you call 1 and which one you call 2. Just assign each of them, one or the other. And then find your coordinate values, or your x and y values for each point. So for point number 2, that's right at the origins, that's going to be 0, 0. And then for point number 1, that's going to be at 4, comma 3. Point number 2, right, we're going to call those coordinates x2 and y2. And then for point number 1, it's going to be x1 and y1. And then we just plug those values into the distance formula. Nothing special to this. So let's see, x2 minus x1, well, that's going to be 0 minus 4, and then square that, plus y2 minus y1, so 0 minus 3, and then square that. The distance is equal to 0 minus 4 is negative 4, and we're going to square that. 0 minus 3 is negative 3, and we're going to square that. So distance is equal to 16 plus 9. 16 plus 9 is 25. Square root of 25 is 5. So the distance between those two blue points is equal to 5. Okay, last one, this pink line. You can see if I zoom into it, it's just the diagonal of one of those squares. And if we know that the length of a side of that square is 1, our answer should be probably pretty close to 1. So let's see if that assumption, that observation, let's see if that's correct. So again, label your points. I'm going to call this one point 1 and this one point number 2. That a little bit easier to read. All right, point number 1, its coordinate values are going to be, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 for the x value, and then the y value is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So negative 5. For point number 2, our x value is going to be 6, and then the y value is going to be negative 4. So again, this is our x2 and y2. This is our x1 and y1. So we just go back over here and plug those values into the distance formula. Distance is equal to x2 minus x1. So that's going to be 6 minus 7, square that, plus y2 minus y1. So that's going to be negative 4 minus negative 5, and then square that. All right, so 6 minus 7 is going to be negative 1, so we'll have negative 1 squared, plus negative 4 minus negative 5 is going to be 1, and then squared. Distance is equal to 1 plus 1, all under the square root. So distance is equal to the square root of 2. And you could leave your answer like this. This is actually probably the most correct way to leave your answer, because the square root of 2 is an irrational number. But if you punch it into your calculator, you will get 1.4142, so on and so forth. So this checks out, right? Remember at the beginning we said we should expect the distance to be, right around 1, something like that. And it definitely is. So this is distance formula, just straightforward. Assign a point 1, call the other one point 2, call your assign the coordinate values, the x and y values, x1 and y1 and x2 and y2, and then just plug everything into this equation, and at that point you just got to do the math. So if you mess up after that, that's on you, because you don't know how to add square or square root stuff. So make sure you practice that.